Hello everyone. I'm just going to show you how to tackle your worksheet for math. I noticed that some of us are struggling a little bit with using Google Slides, but as you know, some of you don't have your jump math books, so this is something that I have designed to hopefully get us back on track with math. Okay, so for the second assignment, you are going to be doing reflections on the y and x axis. So you'll notice for the worksheet today for reflection assignment number 2 that there are 4 pages, 4 slides. So there's slide number 1, slide number 2, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's kind of the main thing that we're doing for worksheet number 2 and assignment number 2. So once you're done, you can turn that in. So for the first page, so I'm going to walk you through it so you don't feel like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? So I've given you an example. What is translation? Translation is when you slide a shape. Reflection is kind of like the mirror image, as you can see here. And rotation is when you rotate the shape. So for page number 1 or slide number 1, all you have to do is click on it and then type in the answer. So it says, tell how each figure was moved, right? Translation, rotation, or reflection. So this is all you highlight, and then you can easily start typing in, like this one is a Okay, so I'll do that one for you guys. Okay, so that's number 1. So that's all you do. Sometimes by accident, if you delete the text box, so let me just do it. I'm like, a backspace. Oops, it's gone. So all you have to do is go into the text box and insert a text box. Okay, so that is the first page. Now, the second slide, slide number 2, it's the same thing. It says tell how each figure was moved, but doesn't have the example. Write translation, rotation, or reflection. So I believe I've created the text boxes for you. So if you don't see the text box, just go into this insert tool, insert, click on this, and then you can insert a text box. Okay, so those 2 first pages, we usually start off easy. And then now we're moving into a reflection worksheet where you're reflecting over the y-axis. This is the y-axis. I highlighted it in blue. And then this is the x-axis where I highlighted it in red. Okay? So it says, give the coordinates of A, B, and C and reflect over the y-axis. So what you have to do here is figure out what is this point, okay? So the other thing you can do is make use of your zoom tool. You can always zoom in, right? So you have to figure out what is the A, B, and C of this particular shape, right? So let's assume that this side is A, right? What shape, what is the point here? What is A? So if this side is A, you can label it as A, right? I'm going to insert the text box and say that this is A. And I'm going to click the text box here and make this B. Okay. And some of you are also asking me if you can print out your worksheet and then screenshot it. That's completely fine. Whatever works for you. I know some people don't have printers. So let's read this shape here. So we know that the x-axis and this coordinate is 3, right? 3 to the right. And then up 1, so that's 1. So I would go down here and I've already created a text box over there. So then I'm going to move this down. Type in 3, comma, 1, right? So that's the ordered pair for A. Okay, so I'm just going to do A for you, just so you know. So 3, 1. And now it's saying reflect it over the y-axis. So you're going to reflect this point over this line here, this y. So it's 1, 2, 3 over. So I know that my A1 or A prime will be 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be this spot here. So I could either make a dot by going to shapes, right? I think after a while, and I'm pressing Control my keyboard to make kind of a perfect circle, or if it's not perfect, that's fine too. right? As long as you make like a little oval shape or dot shape. So I've got my A prime or A1, and I'm going to label it to make it easier for myself to remember. So that's A, and it's on the keyboard, it's under the quotation marks, right? So it's almost like you're putting in an apostrophe. So that's A1. So that's my first. Okay, so that's A1 over there. So I've reflected that over the y-axis. And then you keep doing that for B and C. So then you'll have a triangle that's reflected. So that's kind of the second worksheet. Same thing for this here, right? After you've reflected that, right, let's just finish off with A1. Then you're going to go down here and I'm going to read the coordinate that I reflected for my A1, which is -3, +1. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that here, right? So you can always pause this video, go back to the video, and then continue each as you work on the questions. Okay, so this here, I've done A and A1 or A prime for you. And that's kind of the first section there. Okay, so you can use this graph. So same thing for here for the second question on slide number 3. You're reflecting A, B, and C over this x coordinate, x axis, sorry. Right? So let me just do A over here. You can see this is A. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So same thing when you go at the bottom, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that will be where A1 is. Okay, A1 will be that point. And then you reflect B and then C somewhere along the here. So you just count, what you have to do is just count how many squares it is from the x-axis, and you're going to reflect that onto the other side. Okay, and then that's where you'll be writing down your coordinates over here, right? What is A over here? So A is 1, comma 6. So I would do 1, comma 6. And then A1 will be reflected, and it's going to be 1, -6. And then you write that answer here. Okay, so that's pretty much for slide number 3, right? And as I said, you should try doing this, pausing the video, and then just working on the questions, or else it'll be just too much, okay? And remember that for each assignment that you have 2 to 3 days to work on it. Like this is due on Friday. So, get a head start, maybe do 2 questions, take a pause, work on it, edit, and go back. Okay, so the last question for slide number 4, very much similar, but I don't have the diagram here. It says plot E, F, and G. So I've plotted out E, right? So E is -4. So -4 is 1, 2, 3, -4, and then -3. So that's kind of, I did that one example here wrong. So that's kind of not, I'm going to just delete that. So that's going to be E1. So E is -3, -3, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, -4 and -3. So that's what E is. -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is negative. And then it says -3. So 3 down, 1, 2, 3. So that's -4, -3. That's E. And then this reflected over the x-axis, which is this over here. This is the x-axis. That will make it -4, +3. Okay, so that will be E1. So you can insert a text box if I haven't put one in there. So E1 is going to be -4, comma, +3. Okay, so that's kind of the first one over there. So you could also go in and label it. I inserted a text box, and that is E1. apostrophe, or that's the symbol that you can see above the quotation mark. Okay, E prime. All right, so that's basically the first question on slide 4. And on the second question on slide 4 is they're asking you to plot A, B, C, and D, and then you're reflecting over the y-axis. So I've done A, which is 1, 0, and I wanted to show you how to make the dot. And I'm going to reflect that over the y-axis. So this here, up, down, the vertical line is the y-axis, and I'm going to show you how to draw the shape tool again. So some of you are saying that your dots aren't perfect, and it doesn't really matter. What I do find helpful is if you press the control function, or is it the shift function? Let me just try that again. I think if you press either control or shift, let's see. Yeah, it's the shift button. If you get the shift button, then you get like a perfect circle. And if you don't have a perfect circle and you get kind of an oval shape, that's also fine. As long as you are able to place your dot right where it's supposed to be. So you'll notice I also use this pointer tool, the select tool, to help me move my shapes around, right? Sometimes you're trying to figure things out, and this is something that's very useful. And I also used, once I select my shape, this pops up, the fill tool pops up, and I was able to use black. Some of you have been using different colors. It doesn't really matter, whatever is your fancy. So now I've reflected that on here. This tool, this here, as you can see, my oval here is, maybe it's not in the right space, so I can go back to my selecting tool. Let's see, to highlight that and then move it down a bit. Okay. Anyways, you guys get the idea. So that is the slides assignment, reflection assignment 2. I will be checking in with you guys. I do comment on your assignments, and I have been asking students to rework a couple of their slides because you just started with the reflection assignment this week. Okay, so send me a message, and I do actually update the your assignments as you're turning them in. So thanks, guys, and just keep moving forward. Okay.